In today's video, we're going to talk about how to set manual bids on Google Ads for maximum results. My guaranteed formula for doing this, okay? If you're going to do manual bidding, you're stuck on this. You say, screw Google, I don't want them to have control over how much I'm paying per click, which that's a misnomer by itself, which I'll touch on lightly in this video. But I ain't going to pay no more than $3 a click, damn it. I don't care what. Okay, manual bidding will give you that control, or in general, you just want more control over what you're paying per click. I'm gonna tell you how to do this both at the beginning and then later on. That's gonna get you the most results out of manual bidding. Even though, or given that, you truly will make more money with smart bidding. I know, I was there once. I was totally resistant to smart bidding for a long, long time. I audited accounts all the time, and I would have campaigns set up with manual bidding, and I could not eventually. They came 3-4 years ago. I could not beat the results that I would get with manual campaigns running up against smart bidding campaigns. And I was just like, okay, we can't do manual bidding anymore. So I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but I ran manual bidding campaigns too long. Now, manual bidding is fantastic for getting campaigns started, of which I use on every single campaign I run. But to run manual bidding forever? No, that's not going to make you the most money. Sorry, it's just the honest truth. You can disagree with me, and I can tell you how to make the most out of manual bidding, though, on this video. So I will go through all the details there and getting into some actual formulas you can use for the actual bid adjustments, because that's, if you're going to use manual bidding and you're not going to do bid adjustment calculations, you're just barely scratching the surface of what you can make with that. This is what we used to do before smart bidding. So I'm going to go over that on this particular video. Before we get into the content though, if you do not know who I am, I'm Corey Ziman, owner of Guarantee PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in the profitability on their ads in excess of the management fee. We're the only agency out there who does anything like that. With that said, getting into the content. What you want to do with manual bidding or manual bids, how to set your manual bids on Google Ads for maximum results at the start is not what you're going to do later on. At the start, going first and foremost with that, what you're going to do when you start up a campaign is one of two things. You're either going to check Google Keyword Planner and use the high-end bid estimate for your keyword default bid for a keyword. So Google Keyword Planner says, pottery wheels for sale is $2 a click. That's what your starting cost per click should be on that keyword. Now, anymore, I don't really do that because it's a bunch of extra work with basically almost no extra gain. Instead of that, we'll start out everything out with, like, let's say a 50-cent bid. Then we'll launch the campaign, and then right away I'll go into the keyword menu on the account. I'll select all keywords, then I'll go to edit, change bids, and then select the radio button for raise bids to first page, change bid to first page bid itself. And then what that does, once you click apply, it'll up the bid on all the keywords that are not bid high enough up to be on the first page, which, by the way, is the reason partially why manual bidding isn't the true answer long-term anymore, because if you bid too low, you're just not going to show on the first page, so there's pointless. And you may say, well, I don't want to bid on any keywords where I have to pay more than $2. Fine, but it's all relative. I'll pay $1,000 a click if I can get only whale customers out of it. I mean, it's all either pays for itself or it doesn't. So what you should really be doing is paying what it costs to test the keyword out. I don't care if it's 10 times what the average cost per click is, and then just seeing what it converts at, and then adjust your bid adjustment to decide what that click cost should be ultimately to get you an ROI that's as good as the rest of the account, or in general, what you need to be profitable at your company. Given that, if you don't bid so high at the beginning, you're never going to get any traction. Given that if you have a good website, a good ad, your cost per click is going to come down over time. I mean, sometimes Google says your average cost per click might be $3. They want you to pay $20 to get it on the first page for a particular keyword. It may seem asinine to you, and maybe you skip over a few of those really crazy ones. But eventually you want to test that and see what you can get out of that keyword as well, because there's a cost per click, it's profitable, and there's a cost per click that it's not. But you don't know what that is until you've had time to test it. So anyway, as far as starting out your campaigns, you can either go and manually set the bid, based upon the keyword planner tool, or you could just raise all your keywords to whatever amount that the system says you have to raise it to get to where it shows on the first page, which you'll know if it doesn't show on the first page because under the keyword status, it'll say not high enough for the first page. Which, by the way, as a small update to what I said, sometimes Google, we'll have an account where the average cost per click is $3, and it'll say they want $40 a click for some keyword in there to be on the first page. And in that case, we'll stay away from, agreeing with Google and paying whatever they're asking for that keyword. There's a way when you select all the keywords and say, raise my bid on all keywords to the first page amount, where you could say there's an upper bid limit right there in that menu. And you could say, as long as it's not over $20, so that everything gets raised to the appropriate amount to get shown on the first page. And so that first page warning goes away, except for the keywords where it's over $20. And so I would also recommend that too as well, because I don't know what the hell Google did with their systems, but literally there's some keywords they want 30 times higher than the account average to get that shown on the first page. And the keyword's not that crazy amazing either. It's definitely not worth 30 times what the account average is. So anyway, there's the deal with that. Now, once you've done that, if you're not spending your full budget, which you should pretty much, people never have a lot of times an actual budget that they want to start out with. Your goal is to mathematically calculate what you think your return on investment needs to be profitable after your main expenses starting out. Your cost of labor, your cost of product, so on and so forth. And then you realize, okay, I need to have at least $6 in sales revenue for every dollar in ad spend to be profitable, with my main expenses taken out itself as well. And then of that, if I'm doing lead generation, that breaks down to $30 per lead when I consider I have approximately 20% closing rates. A customer's typically worth $3,000 or client's worth $3,000. Therefore, I know I could pay about $30 a lead, and I should be at 6-to-1 ratio of sales to ad spend, right? You know that up front. You also know what you're willing to lose on your ads before they're profitable. So my average starting budget on Google Ads nowadays in the US anyway is $3,000 a month or $100 a day. And so what we're doing at the beginning is just throwing $100 a day at it until we hit what we know we roughly need for a cost per lead to be profitable. And then once we hit that, we'll verify we really are getting the revenue we need on the back end, assuming that we're doing lead generation. With e-commerce, it's there right away. And then we're going to just start to spend as much as we freaking can while maintaining that ROI. And the whole point of spending the startup money is to get to your number so you could spend it the maximum amount you can with the account, recycling the profit back into the account, walking the sales up in the process of walking up the budget. One step at a time, usually 10, 20% a month, something like that. And then so that, you're starting out with $3,000 now, 5 years from now, you're spending $150,000 a month and you're making millions. Okay? For that matter, your starting budget that you're willing to quote unquote lose up front to get some data, find out how and optimize the hell out of your account so you can hit a certain cost per lead or a certain ROAS or ROI. You are on manual bidding there at the beginning. So you're going to raise your cost per click bids so that you at least are spending your starting budget that you're willing to lose. So if you're willing to throw $100 a day at it till it's profitable, then your account's actually spending $50 a day. Well, the easy thing to do is just to go into all your keywords, select all, say edit, adjust bids, increase the bid by 50%, or increase the bid by 100% in this case, sorry. And then now your account will start spending the full budget. Yes, you will get more clicks, but you'll spend the full budget. And I'm going to do that until I'm spending my full budget. Sometimes I have to go in there 3 or 4 times raising the cost per click, because in a competitive market, it takes a lot of raising the bid just to get shown, because there's 20 guys cycling in and out of the top 4 ad spots on Google, and the established players are getting all the action, not me, if you will. And the average person's just going to switch to maximize clicks to fix that problem, which that's the wrong thing to do, because you want quality clicks still. You just raise the cost per click to the point where Google says, I cannot turn this business down. I need to get this $100 cost per click because, it's just too good. And then they'll test your unproven ads right away. You're spending your full budget, what you want. And you're not going to be paying that cost per click forever anyway, because as soon as Google sees you have a good setup, they're going to lower your cost per click. You're just paying a lot at the beginning to get things going and spend your starting budget. Once you have spent your full budget and Google's saying your campaigns are limited by budget, on the campaigns menu, that's the sign to go ahead and lower your cost per click as soon as that happens. So if you're spending your 100 a day already, and assuming that's your budget, and Google's saying you could spend more on your campaigns, well, at that point in time, I would just lower my cost per click a little bit and see if I can lower it 10%. Well, my spend is still 100 a day, which means I got more clicks for my budget and therefore a higher ROI for my budget. And I'll keep doing that until I'm profitable. Once I'm profitable, I'm not going to lower my cost per click anymore. I'm just going to try to spend more. Technically, if you will, you would be profitable at that high cost per click if you optimized and you had some higher, some lower. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. For the most part, all you're optimizing in the beginning is what your cost per click is going to be across the board. You put your keyword bid to what it needs to show on the first page for everything. And then it's just, you're going to go down 10% overall across all the keywords, see if you can maintain your budget. If so, go down, and then to the point where you're getting as many clicks for your starting budget as possible. Once you've actually got your cost per click down as low as it's going to go, if you will, with you still spending the budget that you have, then the game is bid adjustments. If you're going to stay with manual bidding, adjusting what you're willing to pay for each keyword individually based upon how well it's converting, which is why it's ultra important to set up your tracking before you ever start advertising. Because if you haven't, when you get to this point, you're going to say, shit, what else can I do to get my ads to scale? And the answer is you need data, and you already spent a bunch of money, so you got half the value out of that spend because you've never collected any conversion data while you were doing it. So now you got to set up your tracking and then spend the same amount of money to basically build up the conversion data you needed to get to the next stage where you're at right now, if you will. Or you do what I'm suggesting you do, which is even easier, is just to switch your campaigns to smart bidding, assuming you got 10 to 30 conversions already. Because the system then will take over everything for you. It'll optimize your keyword bids. It'll also optimize your bids on each of the other levels, device, age, gender, and so forth. But you could do this all manually and stay with manual bidding and do the same thing the smart bidding algorithm's going to do. You're just going to do it manually for yourself. And I'm going to talk about that here next. But before I do, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you absolutely should, because I have the best information on how to actually manage and get results with Google ads, Facebook ads, landing pages, tracking, and thereof. You're going to find anywhere else online. That is because I spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm to know what's going on, and I have to spend my weekends just sharing what it is because I don't have time to do it during the week. Nobody that I know does that. They're talking about ads and they're a full-time content creator, not managing ads, but they're going to tell you how to make money with ads, which is ridiculous. So you should subscribe. Go ahead and do that right now. You'll do yourself a huge favor learning from somebody that's an actual practitioner. You should also check out my blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has just as good an information, if not better. That's what's on this channel. On the blog, I've got visuals there, screenshots. It's the actual strategies that I use at our firm to guarantee clients results that you could copy. So you should check that out as well at guaranteedppc.com/blog. If you have any questions about anything I'm covering here, you can always leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. You can ask me any marketing related question for that matter. I'm all ears on any questions you have about any marketing that you're doing. I've got 20 years of experience to give you some feedback. I'm happy to do that for anybody who asks. Now, getting into the long-term management of managing bids when you're using actual manual CPC bidding in your ad account, okay? This look right here, I've got some formulas that look very technical, very complicated. It's not. I'm gonna break this down in a way that a fifth grader could understand and do here still. Of course, you may not want to do this, which if you're lazy like I am, sometimes anyway, just use smart bidding. You don't have to do this. The smart bidding algorithm's doing this for you anyway. And doing it better because they're going to optimize on levels you can't even fathom. Does the guy get up on Sundays and scratch his ass before he goes to the bathroom? Okay, what's up bid on that? I mean, Google, they've got trillions of dollars literally invested into this ad platform to predict who buys and who doesn't buy. They're sucking in data from third parties. You got a fertility app. They're going to buy your data from your fertility app so they know based upon your cycle whether or not you're likely to be a buyer or not. And so when somebody searches for XYZ keyword, are they likely to be a customer or not? And should one person's ad show or another, they're going to identify based upon you having Google Maps on your phone. It's listening to you. It's listening to what you're saying, what your hopes, aspirations, desires are, and then using that to judge whether your ad should show up for a certain search or not, or on a certain website or not. All that stuff gets considered in deciding how the ads run nowadays. That's why you can't beat smart bidding with manual bidding. That said, you can get decent results with manual bidding, particularly when you do bid adjustments on all the different levels, which with that, you can actually adjust your bids on thousands of different levels still. Google, I don't have any proof or documentation of this, but I'm sure they have millions of different levels of how they categorize individual users based upon what they say, what they do, where they go, what they buy, everything. And doing these virtual bid adjustments, if you will, on their end on that type of level. But Google will let you do a bid adjustment that is pay more or less for a click on the age level, gender level, household income level, keyword level, device level, all the basics, audience level though as well. So, and when you're talking about audiences, now you're getting into thousands of different ways to do a bid adjustment, because you can import thousands of audiences into your audience menu or tab on your campaigns. And you can do a bid adjustment based upon somebody liking fast food or not, or somebody who likes watching football. How does that impact the conversion potential of a prospect, so that when they're searching for a pottery wheel and they like football, what statistical increase in likelihood does that person who likes football also searching for a pottery wheel, how much more likely does that make or not make somebody from buying if they like football? So what you do, if you want to get the maximum value out of manual bidding and you want to put the maximum work to get the maximum result for yourself, you import like 5,000 audiences there to your audience tab, and then you do a bid adjustment based upon each one of those audiences. And for that matter, it could be a bunch of random stuff. Most people think, oh, I just put stuff relevant to my niche. Like if I sell Christmas decorations, I put Christmas decorations, Christmas this, Christmas that. No, how about put football and fast food and all that stuff in there and just monitor and see how the data looks? Because you could put no bid adjustment, and until you know how that audience converts, or that trade converts for you, so that somebody who likes fast food, whether that affects that fact being there or not being there, affects your conversion rate on traffic from a particular keyword does, or keywords does, you're not going to do a bid adjustment at all. But when you get enough data, enough people that have had fast food that Google knows likes fast food, comes through, searches, clicks on your ad, buys or doesn't buy, then you can do a bid adjustment on the fast food audience and get more results there moving forward. So you import all those audiences, start utilizing it, using your bid adjustments, you'll start getting more results, which, by the way, you can do bid adjustments on these different levels. But if you have smart bidding turned on, Google ignores them, unfortunately. Manual bidding, you get the advantage of doing it. One thing that manual bidding can do for you is, if you're really, really knowledgeable about your audience, your market, particularly if you have a big customer database, you could take that customer database to third-party data brokers like Axiom and give them your customer list, and they have 40,000 traits that they track on the US population by itself. And they can tell you if your customer base, what are the things what are the most correlated factors that make somebody a buyer versus a non-buyer in the general public. So you could take that data, add it to your audience list, and then know to do a bid adjustment on those specifically. So you may find people who buy, couches from your couch store are 3 times as likely to be a bowling player than the average general public. So in that case, you could put a 300% bid adjustment on bowling as a hobby. You see what I'm saying? So for that matter, if you will, you can upload your customer list to Google, and Google will also give you insights in market segments, affinity segments on your own data as well, by the way. Google will give you that data for free. You could go that route with it. Ultimately, I know this sounds tricky. It's not. And what I'm about ready to go over here is tricky in terms of being diligent about doing it. Because once you start this process and you're not keeping up with it, you're not going to really get near the results you would have got otherwise. The magic in this strategy I'm about ready to go over in terms of the bid adjustments comes when you diligently, at least let's say once a quarter, update your bid adjustments to the current market trends, because, mobile may convert better than desktop 2-to-1 today, but 2 years from now, it's like a 50-50 at par. So if you add the big bid adjustment on mobile traffic today, 2 years from now, you're way overpaying for the mobile customers that you're getting. And so you got a gross inefficiency in what you're doing in your campaigns that you're running then. You got to set bid adjustments once you get enough data finally to do it. But you got to keep updating your bid adjustments to match market rates, because the cost per click changes all the time. Google changes the cost per click. There's different percentages of the market who may do mobile or not do mobile. And the more that do mobile, the more the cost per click is going to go up, and vice versa. So with that said, if you want somebody to do this for you, of course we can do it at our firm. We know it backwards and forwards, even though we don't do it anymore for our clients because we know that doesn't get the best results. Reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com and I'll be happy to hook you up with that, as well as 20 other things that we could do to actually get you more results on your ads. Furthermore, by the way, if you don't want to work with an agency like ours outright, like on a monthly service level, we also have ad templates available. We started a couple of years ago now selling the ad templates that work for different niche markets we've been in before. So we're talking, if you are a plumber, put together several plumbing campaigns before, why figure out how to do all this stuff yourself watching these videos on this channel when you could buy the winning campaign template, landing page template for the plumbing space and get the same cost per lead we're getting with none of the work, none of the time, none of the effort we had to figure out how to find that gold-plated version that works the best in the plumbing space. Just copy paste it in. There is no point in doing it yourself, honestly, because you're gonna have to, even if you did it perfectly as per understanding the things that we do, there's still small things you're gonna figure out along the way as well. And we've ran campaigns in the plumbing space for years, so you're just not gonna beat us, or it's gonna take a long time to catch up. So anyway, we have 100 different niche markets. We have templates available. So if you're interested in that, you can let me know at our firm. These templates are basically a business in a box, because once you have the ads working correctly, you can sub out all the work if you wanted to. And it is a business in itself, if you will, if you're looking to get into something else even. Furthermore, if you have a one-off question, you're an agency or individual business, run the question through me. It's gonna save yourself a lot of time, anguish, grief, asking myself whether a change you're planning to do, a significant one, is likely to work or not. Or in general, if you're stuck in terms of revenue and profit right now, ask me how to get unstuck. I'm excellent at finding out bottlenecks in businesses as it comes to raising the revenue. And a lot of you guys are thinking your ads are the problem, and really it's the website, or it's your sales process, or your lead handling, so on and so forth. So let me know if you're interested in that as well. You can reach out to me at my firm as well at guaranteeppc.com for that. Going into the bid adjustments now. So now that I laid the framework as to how to do, like all the different levels you can do a bid adjustment on, okay? So you're gonna want to use a bid adjustment on all of these different levels once you've had 1,000 additional clicks, at least, on a particular, what they call dimension. So if mobile's had an additional 1,000 clicks on it, you should go in and revise your bid adjustment for the mobile traffic. And same thing on any other level. To simplify this, what we used to do at our firm when we were still doing it is wait 90 days. And every 90 days, somebody at our firm would go through all the dimensions, and if any dimension had at least another 1,000 clicks on it since the last time we did it, or in the last 9 months has had at least additional 1,000 clicks, if the previous 2 quarters have not had 1,000 clicks in it itself. So we're still doing it on dimensions that have lesser volume itself, but then we would add a bid adjustment. And then the way that you do the bid adjustment is not just pulling it straight out of your ass. It's mathematically calculating the perfect amount of bid adjustment to get you more out of that account. And when you do the bid adjustments correctly across all the dimensions, what it's ultimately going to do is scale your results. So 2 things here I just want to say before I give you the formula. Number 1, if you're not, with manual bidding, if you are not getting the ROI you want, what you want to do as a whole is take all your keywords, select them all, and reduce your cost per click on all the keywords universally across the board, because that's going to up your ROI. So if you are doing a 400% ROAS now, you need 800%. The easiest way to get to the 800% is to select all keywords, click edit, and then reduce keyword bids by 50%, which is they'll let you do right off the bat, then boom, all your keywords bids are now 50% less. Your ROI is almost for sure going to be 800% ROAS then. So bid adjustments don't get you a better ROI or acceptable ROI. What it does do is it helps you scale the ads because it's going to pull budget away from dimensions or areas of your spend that aren't as productive. So you bid less on them so you get less of them, or at least you're paying what they're worth, and it's reallocating that budget to what's producing above average results. See that? Of course, and if a certain source of traffic like mobile on Wednesdays is just not profitable and you're therefore bidding very, very low to get mobile traffic on Wednesdays, and with that, you're not showing up at all on mobile on Wednesdays, well, that's just how it is. You're going to bid as effectively with this as high as you possibly can while still maintaining the ROI that you ultimately have set as the minimum acceptable ROI for your business. So you can't go wrong. It'll just get you the maximum sales at the ROI that you want when you do the bid adjustments and you add in there, your baseline bid for all your keywords universally, if across all the keywords, like I mentioned before, lowering your cost per click for all the keywords if your ROI is not good enough. Or if it's above average, you would also want to raise your cost per click across all the keywords because you're going to make the most money finding an acceptable ROI and then just spending an unlimited amount or as much as you can at that ROI. A lot of guys think, oh, I need to be at a 10-to-1 ROI to be profitable. Well, if you're in a low competition market, you may be able to make that profitable. I almost guarantee you will make 10 times as much money scaling to the moon on a 6.5 or 7 ROI than you will trying to get 10-to-1 ROI and scale that. Because it's 3 times as hard to get a 6 or a 10 versus a 6 in most markets. There's some advanced mathematics you can do to figure out whether you'll make the most money at 6-to-1, 7-to-1, 8-to-1. And that goes into using algebraic formulas. I'm not going to go into that in this particular video, but this is the type of stuff they teach in business school that is useful. How to calculate peak profitability at different, you can do this at different price points, but you can also do this with different levels of ROAS or ROI as well. So with that said, going into the bid adjustments, what you do once you had your campaigns running for a while, after 90 days of running the campaigns with manual bidding, you're going to take on a campaign by campaign basis, you'll take the overall results you got from the campaign, put it in this part of the formula, and you're going to put the results you got for that individual dimension above it. So if our campaign ROAS was 700%, right? And for mobile traffic, we had 300% ROAS. You're going to divide 300 by 700. You're going to subtract 1. Then you're going to multiply it by 100. And that's going to be your actual bid adjustment you want for mobile traffic. And that applies to any other dimension you're doing the bid adjustment for. So you could be doing the fast food audience. Fast food audience converts at 900% ROAS or ROI. You divide that by the 700 campaign average ROAS or ROI that the campaign gets. Minus 1 times 100, that's your bid adjustment for the fast food audience, okay? So that's all it is, even though this looks scary and complicated. Now, where it gets a bit more complicated is if your fast food audience has already had a bid adjustment and you are adding a updated bid adjustment, you're not just going to erase the old bid adjustment, you're going to add a new one. And so what you do there is you take the previous bid adjustment that you had on the fast food audience, you take it times the bid adjustment that from here it says that you're supposed to get or have at a decimal. So let's say your previous bid adjustment here was plus 45%, right? And you run this formula for the fast food audience and it's saying you should have a 25% bid adjustment, plus 25. So what you're going to do is take 45 times 0.25 in decimal format plus the previous bid adjustment of 45, that's your new bid adjustment for that fast food audience. So you're updating the bid adjustment based upon the bid adjustment that was there, and then whatever you need to add or subtract from that bid adjustment to get to the right bid adjustment for that particular dimension at that particular time based upon how the market's changed or running at that particular time. So all the different dimensions are properly optimized on an ongoing basis based upon how things are going for your market for people that have different individual traits. And that's all there is to it. You do that, you're going to be making with manual bidding 5 to 10 times as much as what you're making with some guy who just doesn't do any bid adjustments. He just randomly puts whatever bids on the keyword menu and he's done. Truly. The same thing though could be said about smart bidding and not using smart bidding. So whereas if you could make 5 times as much doing the killer methodical bid adjustment formula strategy here that I told you here, you can make 10 to 15, 20 times more with smart bidding when they take it to an insane level on hyper optimizing certain traits of people based upon that user level traits and behaviors, which, they're going to look at everything a person's done before they make that search even. Did they go to a competitor's website? Have they searched for, a lot of people do research before they go ahead and search for a kitchen and remodeling company. And if they've seen you been to watching 5 different YouTube videos about this, well, they know is way more statistically likely to buy. In that situation, they're going to upbid you because they know that person's more valuable. And you're going to be able to win that auction, win that set of eyeballs from them because you have smart bidding on there and you're saying that you're willing to pay more just by using smart bidding if the person has been to those other YouTube videos before, which indicate that they're a higher value prospect to us. So, because I get angry emails like semi-regularly at our firm saying, Corey, why is it that we're paying, $25 a click on these keywords here or these campaigns here when, the average is supposed to be like $5 on the campaign. And I just have to tell them that's what and how smart bidding works. Smart bidding is set up to take the data that they have and the predictions about one prospect over another, what their statistical likelihood of buying is, and then applying a positive bid adjustment to that individual user based upon their statistically likelihood to buy, so that when that person that's more likely to buy comes through, you're not going to be outbid by somebody else because you are saying to Google, if they're worth more, I'm willing to pay more. Here they are. Here your competitor is only willing to pay so much for a click. They're now outbid for that user, which that user is 5 times as likely to convert for you. You're willing to pay more. So that's why manual bidding isn't as valuable anymore. Even though you can do bid adjustments on all these different audiences and so forth, it's still just not as sophisticated as what Google knows about individual users who are entering your market. For that matter, a lot of guys, they don't have time to do the ads right. And I understand that you're a business owner, you're busy or whatever, or a manager. You don't want to work with an agency because whatever, maybe another agency left a bad taste in your mouth. We can work as your internal marketing and advertising department at your company, where we'll set up the best advertising you can possibly get. If you're willing to partner with us long-term, what we do with several companies that we've done this with so far is we'll come in and we'll say, hey, we'll give you 50 grand worth of ad spend right off the top. We'll give you also all of our own internal resources to make your ads pop at the highest level possible. In exchange, if we take you from 500,000 to 5 million, we want 4% of the increase in growth in revenue. You keep the rest. That's all we want. So we're only getting paid if we increase your sales. We've done this with several companies, of which that are making multiple millions a year more in sales revenue and related profit. When we partnered up with them, we're equity partners in the business. And for a company that has a great product or service that's market leader, but not the best advertising, guaranteed they're going to crush it because we're going to have the best advertising for them that's 10 times better than any of the other market people in that market. And of course, it's going to work. We're both going to make a lot of money. You're going to have a smaller piece of the pie, but a huge pie to get a piece from. So if you're interested in that, let me know. You can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. We're interested in investing in some other newer companies now, since the ones we're working with are maturing. With that said, I also have a brand new Discord group that I opened up with, there's a lot of guys from this channel in there talking about the strategies we're talking about on this channel, doing them. I'm in there answering questions. You can find that link in the video description itself there's a Discord link there. And of which, by the way, I've got a free advertising course that I offer in there just as a way of saying thank you for entering the group. That tells you how to set up an advertising campaign for your business from scratch, the way that we do it at our firm. With that said, I'm going to wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching as usual, and I'll see you on the next one. If you want to see another video, click here. It is one of my best ones.